If you spent some time watching nuzlocke videos or streams or something like that, you might have heard people using this term called tempo.
I assessed the situation and decided that simply switching out would lose me way too much tempo.
But what exactly is tempo? Is it like that one guy from Whiplash was
tempo.
always
It's all
talking
good.
about?
No worries. Here we go.
Well, not really. See, it's a nebulous term, and not one specific to nuzlocks either. I used to play a game called Hearthstone where the term was very often used. To try and explain it in the simplest way possible relative to nuzlocks, when you play for tempo, you're playing to advance your game state in the battle. This might involve taking a deliberate risk or making a sacrifice in order to make progress. If that sounds a little confusing, I'll try to explain it through an example. To start with, let's look deeper into the situation I showed at the start of the video. We'll recreate the same game state, a sleeping half-health Azumarill in against Vigoroth. Obviously, Azumarill is at risk here. Although it's not dead to any single attack, it's sleeping, and if it doesn't wake up in time, or if Vigoroth gets 1 or 2 critical hits, it'll die. A lot of us nuzlockers are extremely risk-averse. I know I am when I play these kinds of games. With that mindset, the first instinct would be to switch Azumarill out since it's very vulnerable to being killed. This decision would be one that loses you tempo. To explain that further, switching Azumarill out doesn't advance your game state. You aren't accomplishing anything by making the switch. Not doing damage, not creating some kind of utility, nothing. It's also clear that your sleeping Azumarill would likely not accomplish anything for the rest of the fight, since you'd have to find a way to switch it in and let it wake up, which would put it equally as vulnerable to being killed as it is now. So, why is this important? Well, while you make this play that doesn't advance your game by switching your Azumarill out, Lenora is advancing her own game by attacking and doing damage to your team. You're falling behind by doing nothing while your opponent does something. If you fall too far behind, you're not going to have enough resources to get through the rest of the fight, and by trying to save the Azumarill, you're losing your entire run. It's a delicate balance that requires the ability to think on the fly. Hopefully the concept is at least a little more clear now. But how can we apply this to our own nuzlocks? Well, at the very least, when you spot yourself considering a play that loses you tempo, like switching, it's important to analyze whether you believe that it's worth falling behind to avoid that risk, or whether you should instead take a risk to keep up. It doesn't mean you should never switch or anything, but it's a good thing to keep in mind, especially in those very close, intense fights. Thanks so much for staying with me through this video. If you enjoyed or you want to see more content kind of like this, then hit the good old like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do, I'll know I should make more of this kind of video. If you didn't like it, then you can dislike, and I know I'll stop making these kinds of videos, I guess. Either way, thanks for watching. Bye bye.